Hey guys, Dr. G. Alfred Palmer here, and I just wanted to take a few minutes to just talk about some things that I think that that may be interesting. I've been listening to a gentleman on YouTube, and he's been quite interesting, and I've even shared one of his videos. And I think the video is called 3 Reasons a Man Shouldn't Chase a Wife. And I thought it was very, very interesting because I saw that he was also on a talk show talking about those 3 reasons in his book that incorporates those 3 reasons why a man shouldn't chase a wife. And so what I've done is I've gone back, and I'm the kind of person, I'm going to investigate and escalate, or I shouldn't say escalate, but excavate, and go hunting within the biblical narrative to see and to see what I can come up with. And so I want to preface what I'm going to share by saying that I've been accused of being a naysayer. I've been accused of being a person who never agrees with anyone, and always has something negative to say. And here's why that may seem that way. It's not my intent, but what happens is when we have a certain particular mindset that we have become accustomed to, and we see that as being the way of thinking. When our paradigm changes, everything changes. And as a result of everything changing, it causes us to think differently and even reject those things that we thought or held to be true. It is not a personal thing. It is not it's just a paradigm shift. It is the ability to change our focus from where it used to be to a new place. And it causes and it changes everything. It changes the way we see everything, and everything that and this new way of seeing and thinking has upset the apple cart, my apple cart, believe me. But I have to do what I believe Spirit is given to me to do, or there will be someone else doing it, and there's going to be someone that's going to come and take this further. So I'm not trying to be a person who is a naysayer, a gloomy Gus. I'm not trying to be any of those things, but I would just ask that you would hear the things that I'm saying. It's not about me, but I've had to get accustomed to the name calling, the accusations, and all these other things. But even with that, I have to proceed on. I have to continue on to the mandate that I have. I'm not a religious person anymore. I was a very religious person, but I am no longer a religious person. And because I'm not a religious person anymore, I come against the mindset and the mentality of religion. And it's not personal against you. I don't know you, most of you. I don't know you, so it can't be personal. But it's coming against a mindset and a mentality that has gotten us to the place where we now find ourselves. It's time for us to elevate, expand, and to even excavate, to dig down, because it's that time for us to expand and change the way that we're thinking, because the things that we have been doing isn't working. If you were to be honest, it's not working. It's not. So we have to do some things differently. Anytime there's a mistake, the mistake is not with the Creator. It's never with the Creator. The mistake or the shortcoming is with us. And it behooves us to find out where we're falling short. And so I'm going to share this. It's going to be different. It's going to be different. But at the same token, I'm hoping that you'll gain something from it. Okay, here we go. Now, this young man, I believe his name was Style J. I think that was his. And then I would say to you, go on the YouTube and look at his video on 3 reasons a man shouldn't chase a wife. I believe that's the name of it. And he was on. If you go to my Facebook page, you'll see it because I posted it yesterday. Very interesting. Very interesting. He has definitely has a masculine voice, and that masculine voice not always received well by a feminine mentality. But he did well. He stood tall. He stood masculine, and he stood in his masculine mentality. And that's a good thing, because what we're finding now is that men will not stand in a masculine mentality for a number of reasons. One, they want sex, and they will say and do agree with anything you say if they think that they can have sex. Two, they are not intelligent enough to stand in a masculine mentality, and to debate issues or to discuss things on an intellectual basis. Three, if they are unable to, because they have been brought up with lacking a masculine mentality and have a feminine mentality, and so they think more feminine than they do masculine, and so they have a more leaning toward a feminine mentality than they do a masculine one. Now, that's not a put down; those are observations. I'm not being critical. I'm observing. And so, as a masculine man, a masculine voice will come across in a way that some feminine mentalities may not agree with, or may not hear, or want to hear. But there is a feminine mentality that's willing to hear, and that's the woman I'm talking to in this case. And in this case, I'm also talking to the masculine mentality of the male. So I want to discuss briefly that scripture that he talked about in this video, 3 reasons a man shouldn't chase a wife. And that verse, it comes from Proverbs 18:22. It's Proverbs 18:22. A very familiar passage of scripture. Most of us have grown up listening to that scripture and know it quite well, because it's one of those scriptures that religion continually presses forward. And so with that in mind, and that we know that it does get pressed forward a lot, I'm going to let me get some things here together. There we go. And because of that, I want that scripture is in, again, Proverbs 18:21. It says, "Whosoever findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor of the Lord." Now that scripture is coming from the King James Version. I do a lot of my studying from the King James Version. Some people have problems with the King James Version of the Bible. I do too in some cases, but I'm okay with this particular verse. So let's look at it. Let's look at this particular verse. Now, when we talk about, this is one verse that it seems to get used over and over again when it comes to talking about matrimony, or finding a wife, or gaining a wife, or what have you. It gets used over and over. It's a go-to scripture, if you would. So let's delve into it a little bit. I'm not one that likes to just look at one scripture, because that is like sound biting an individual. If we were to see a video of that person and just sound bite something in it. And so I don't like sound biting, but I'm going to try to take this scripture and look at some others as well. Okay, so when we look at this scripture, it says he, or it doesn't even say he. It says whoso findeth. But we know that's he, because the verses before is basically using the masculine as the masculine noun to identify the person that it's being spoken of. Okay, so we know it's a gentleman or a male. So it says whosoever, or he that findeth. That now when we talk about findeth, here's the word that everyone seems to get to think that it means to chase. It doesn't. It does not mean chase. And this is where this gentleman's his information is spot on relative to the word find or findeth in the King James does not mean to chase. It doesn't. The word chase, if we were going to look at the word chase is first introduced in the book. I'm a big stickler on what I call the law of first mention. And the law of first mention is where that word is used first in the biblical narrative. Has a lot to do with the original meaning of that particular word. So what I do is I always go back and look at where that particular word was first used. And it gives me a better understanding of what the intent and the motive of that word is in the original. Okay. And then I'm able to look at that word in light of the surrounding scripture in the text that I'm looking at and gain even more from it. Now, the word find it, or I should say the word chase. That word chase is not that word. The word chase in the Hebrew first appears in Genesis 14:14, and it does not mean findeth. It means to pursue. And it means to pursue or to follow after or to harass or to dog or to bribe. Those are not positive words. So chasing for a man, ladies, if you're being chased, that's not a good quality. That is not a good look. That is not a good thing to be experiencing. And I would agree with the gentleman in his video that says that if you are finding yourself being chased 9 times out of 10, that's not going to work out for your benefit and for the benefit of the person that's doing the chasing. But the word it says whosoever findeth. The word findeth is a see, one of the things that we've got to understand is forms of speech are critical in identifying and being able to interpret scripture in a more holistic manner. Now, the word findeth here is a verb. We know that a verb is an action word, right? Now, this word findeth is the word masa, and it is a verb, and it means, listen to this, the word findeth means to encounter, to light upon, to happen upon, to discover, to recognize, or to appear. Now, the word findeth first appears in Genesis 2. It first appears in Genesis 2. And that's important. If you go back and look in Genesis 2, you'll find that that's where Adam was looking. It says where Adam was looking for a mate and couldn't, and there was none found for him. There was none found for him. There was none discovered. There was none recognizable for him. There was none that appeared to him. There was none that alighted upon him. And he would say in his mind that this is for me. He couldn't find a mate. Right? So when we look at this word masa, we see the same thing here in this verse in Proverbs 18. It says that he that findeth, he that recognizes. See, now here's the thing. Recognizing something is not chasing it. It's not chasing it. Recognizing something is not dogging it. Recognizing something is not bribing it or following after it. It's not. But it is to discover. It is to see, right? When you see it, and I'm telling you, see, this particular quality of finding is not just for finding a wife. It's finding anything of value. Anything that is of any type of redeemable quality. It's to recognize. It's to light upon. It's to, you know it when you see it. Okay? So whoever findeth, whoever master, whoever encounters, see, you will encounter many people. Women will encounter men, men will encounter women, women will encounter women, and men will encounter men. And that is to recognize. See? Now, here's what's going to be important. What you are to recognize. And I'm getting ready to show you something. This is different. Follow me. Okay, here it says, whosoever findeth, whosoever recognizes a wife. Now, here's the thing. This word wife is not the word wife. It's the word wife that's used, but it doesn't mean wife like we understand wife. And that's why there's a problem. There's a problem of us using scriptures, using words, and we don't know what they mean. We just use our Western culture and our Western education to try to define an Eastern culture word. And in order to do that, we have to go back and find out what the word meant when it was written or when it was used in that culture. And not try to make and fit our culture, or I should make it fit our culture, but we've got to transform and be able to identify that culture. So here, the word wife is a feminine noun. It's a feminine noun. Now, what do we understand when you got to understand what a feminine noun is? Many people don't. A feminine noun is a recessive noun. It's when I say recessive, it doesn't mean it's weak. It means it receives. It receives. It's different. The masculine initiates, the feminine receives. And that's important for us to identify and understand. Because what we can really understand here is to identify what this wife is. The feminine noun wife is actually the word ishah. Ishah. And that word ishah comes from two Hebrew words that don't mean wife. The word wife, actually, it comes from two words. One word is ish, which means man, and it is a masculine noun. Listen to me. It is a masculine noun. Ish means man. Okay? Oh my goodness. And the second one, the second part of the word is also a noun, but it is a feminine noun, which means is Enosh. Enosh, which means individual. It means humanity. It means not male. Okay? So, what are we saying here? We've got to understand that it's not really talking about a wife here. It's talking about woman. Now, here's the thing. Women are men. Now, I don't mean that in a sexual way. I'm talking about in a creative sense, because man and woman, they are the same. We are one, but the difference is the woman has a womb, and that womb is what's the feminine piece, the female, that allows her to carry a fetus. And a male who has the ability, who carries the ability to initiate, okay? We are equipped to initiate. You know what I'm talking about, right? So we are the same. So here, that if a man finds a wombed man or a woman, and when we talk about a wombed man, we're talking about a woman who understands who she is. She understands and knows what it means to be a wombed man. And understanding that being a wombed man and having the recessiveness of her design and understanding that the man has the initiation. She knows how and what the roles are. So many people are fighting roles and not wanting to fit in who they are. And that's why we're having confusion. You see it all over the internet. People are confused with who they are. They feel like something else when when they're not. If I was to say that I was a white male, how many of you would believe that? I'm not. I'm not a white male, right? You know what I'm talking about. And there are other people that are saying they're this and that, and they're not. Because they have not identified and understood who they are. So the man that findeth that wound woman, that wound man, that womb man, if you find her, and you'll find her everywhere because she is out there. She is intelligent. She is respectful. She identifies the masculine voice and respects it. She respects, and in a sense that she's not argumentative. She's the kind of woman that has the ability she has the ability to charm the lamb's leg out of the mouth of a lion. She has the ability because she's so intelligent, she's so wise, because she's wombed man. She has the same intelligence. She has the same intellectual prowess. She has the same spiritual purpose. She is built as man is, but with a womb and with a mentality to understand how to implement her sexuality. And she understands sexuality. So whomsoever findeth a woman or wombed man finds, or another word for finds is encounter. So whoever finds this wombed man, and it's not just to marry, it's in your everyday encounter in life. It's not about going out and getting married. There are wombed women, there are wombed men all over. You encounter them every day. It's not your wife, but these are women of understanding. These are women of knowledge. These are women who have great intelligence. Okay? So it's okay. It's okay to hear them. And it's important to hear them because they have something that you as an initiator don't have. They have a perspective that we as initiators don't have. And then the flip side of that same coin is, ladies, we have a side that you don't. We need each other. But I'm hearing so much that some people say, I don't need women. I don't need men. Yes, you do. That's the way you were built. All the other thing is all up in your head. All those other things are in your head. Is it these paradigms that have been put up in your mind by media and all these other things? But the bottom line is we need each other. Because listen, it says whoever finds a wife or a wombed man finds a good thing. Now listen. It says the word in the original Hebrew, the word thing is really not there. So it says so literally it really says whosoever findeth a wombed man findeth good. Now the word good is the word tov in the Hebrew, and it's first used in Genesis 1:4, where it says that God created and it was good. See, so this finding of this wombed woman or this wombed man or this woman, in finding it is good. That word good actually means beneficial. It also means agreeable. See, it's important to find people that you can agree with. I find myself more and more not debating with people, because if a person has an ear to hear your voice, there's nothing to debate. And if there is a debate for you, it wasn't for you. Because the thing is, if it's for you, you would hear it. You would have an ear to hear, and you would hear. And if it's not for you, even if I explain it to you, you're not going to hear it. Because when it's for you, you won't need anyone to explain it. Spirit will quicken it to you, and you won't need anyone to explain it. This happened to me as a young believer. There were things that people would talk to me about, and I would tell them, I said, I knew that. They would speak to me about certain truths about God, and I would say, I knew that. I knew that already. I would be so excited about it. I said, I knew that already. And they would say to me, well, how did you know? I don't know how I knew it, but that I knew. See, there are things that Spirit will quicken to you, and you'll know, and no one will have to tell you. When someone says something and Spirit speaks to you, you won't have to ask questions about it when you know it's from Spirit. You're understanding. You'll understand it. And then once you understand it, then we can sit down and we can talk about some things. But I'm not here to convince you. Can't do it. Can't do it. And I'm not going to argue with you. You shouldn't argue. If you have something to say, say it. And the people that are supposed to hear it will hear it. Okay? Good. So whosoever findeth the woman or wombed man findeth or encounters good, encounters that which is beneficial, that which is outstanding, that which is agreeable, right? Agreeable. If it's agreeable, it's agreeable. There's no disagreement. Now, some of you will have some problems with that. Fine. No problem. Okay? And it says, so whosoever findeth this wombed man encounters good and obtains. Oh my goodness. Or the Hebrew, or I should say the King James says, obtaineth. Obtaineth. The first time that this particular word is used, it's a verb, and it's used in Psalms 140, verse 8. And it means to further. So it is saying to promote. So when you find this wombed man, when you find this good thing, which is not really a thing, when you find this good beneficial, and it furnishes, it elicits, it causes to come out. So this good comes out. It obtains something. It grasps something. It produces something. It's coming, and it issues. It gives out something. What does it give out? It gives out favor. It gives out favor, and it get that favor that it gives out. It gives. Let me read it, and I'll come right into it. Whosoever findeth the wombed man findeth good, and promotes or produces goodwill, acceptance, and mindfulness of the Lord. If you want to understand what God is doing, understand this. God is always up to something good for you. The Lord, that word Lord, whenever you see the word Lord in all capital letters in the King James Version of the Bible, what that means is it's always designated to mean Yahweh. Yahweh means the self-existing one. The self-existing one. And the first time that word Yahweh appears is in Genesis 2, verse 4. So, what am I saying? What am I saying? What am I saying? I'm saying that, men, we are not to chase after. We're not the dog. We're not to harass. We're not to follow after, or we're not trying to bribe women with your cars and with your money, because none of that's going to work. It's not going to work. It's not. Nor do you deserve that. You don't. Okay, but it says who finds. It means that who encounters. No, we're not going out chasing after a wife. No, that's not what this is about. This is talking about how to encounter a wombed man. How to encounter a wombed man. All women fit this here. Not just a wife. All women. The wombed man fits this. Identifies as the one that is able to be that good and beneficial, that thing of that produces favor. It's not just a wife. We've got to understand that in the female is tremendous blessing. In the woman that understands who she is. She's got to, that's who a wombed man is. A wombed man understands who she is. Now we have females. We do have females, a lot of females, right? And the same thing with men, right? The same thing with men. Men understand who they are. But we have a lot of males who don't. Men understand. Males don't. Women understand. Females don't. So if what we're looking for, what we're encountering in our daily walk, you're not looking for a wife. You're going about fulfilling purpose in your life. That should be our goal. Her goal too is to look and to find purpose for one's life. And as we do that, what happens is we encounter people. We findeth people. We stumble across people, right? We discover people. People appear. We happen upon them. And they are blessings to our lives. That doesn't mean that you're going to marry them. That means that they are a blessing. You know, not every guy is after you. Fellas, we're not supposed to be after every woman that way. But I'm looking for that womb man who understands and is a blessing. Is a blessing. Because she is that good and beneficial and that acceptable and the well thinking and thought of mindedness, I should say, of God. So let me close it one more time. I'm gonna bring this around one more time. Whosoever findeth a wombed man, whoever encounters a wombed man, encounters an agreeable, beneficial thing that's added, and obtains or promotes or elicits goodwill, delight, satisfaction, and acceptance of the self-existent one. It's important that we understand a lot of the things that we've been taught aren't true, especially from a religious perspective. The word wife is used here, but in the Hebrew, it's not the word. It's really not the English word wife. It's two words, two Hebrew words that mean something totally different than what we've, and it's like that a lot. If you don't, that's why we're told to study to show ourselves approved unto God, a workman that needed not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. The word of truth is not the biblical narrative, but in a way it is. But it's the way that we think. It'll transform the way that we think, and it'll transform the way we see things. I'm going to close there. I'm going to close there, and I hope that you would share with me your thoughts. I know it went kind of long. I didn't really mean to, but I wanted you to understand that, yes, fellas, we are not supposed to chase, but we're to focus on, and as we focus on our purpose, the other things are going to manifest. And if you find someone that you want to marry her. Somebody's thinking that there's some soulmate. There's no such thing. If you find this wombed man, and you guys have an agreement, come into agreement, and you want to get married, get married. But so many times we're looking for someone that's not going to come. No such thing as a soulmate. That's a religious idea. That's not true. You're looking for a mate. There's someone in your life, somebody that would fit that bill. But the question is, are you willing? Are you willing to marry them, or maybe you're not? But that doesn't mean that somebody's coming that's, this knight in shining armor. It's not, that's a fairy tale, right? Well, this is Dr. G. Alfred Palmer. I appreciate you sticking with me for these minutes, because I really do understand the value of the time commodity, and I'm appreciative. I'd love to hear from you. And you don't have to agree with me. It's okay for you to disagree, but I like to hear, because I learn too. I want to learn. Okay, so whatever your thoughts are, whatever your ideas are, let's talk. Let's exchange. Let's sharpen each other, because iron sharpens iron, right? Dr. G. Alpha Palmer, and I am out.